Good morning and welcome everyone to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Mary Murray Shelton, the community spiritual leader here, and you are welcome, whoever you are, wherever you may be on your pathway of life and faith. We're glad that you're here with us this morning. We are in the month of June now, so we've switched gears into a new theme for the month, which is the soul's call. And this morning, I'm talking about welcoming the uncomfortable. Now, that may not sound like a very appealing talk title, but you just wait. You're going to love it. And with that enticing word, I want to let you know that we have a marvelous guest musician with us this morning, Reverend Christy Snow, and our morning prayer practitioner is Reverend Sarah Hargrave. So you're awash in ministers this morning. Reverend Christy Snow is a singer-songwriter with 14 CDs to her credit and years of sharing music with New Thought centers across the United States and Canada. She's also the founding pastor of the Carolina Center for Spiritual Awakening in Charlotte, North Carolina. She is self-taught on both guitar and native flute, and has been voted one of Charlotte's best female vocalists and best singer-songwriter multiple times by, get this, Creative Loafing magazine, which I love. Please open your heart and mind to creatively loaf your way into enlightenment with the dynamic Christy Snow.
Good morning, Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. I'm so happy to be with you. And as we say in the South, I know I'm preaching to the choir on this first song, but it's show up and be love. Show up and be love. Be the smile you're dreaming of. We're here to give and to receive love. Won't you show up and be love? Be that heart you're dreaming of. We are here to be love. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, you are. Oh, you're welcome here. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, you are loved and wanted here. So show up and be loved. Be the smile you're dreaming of. We're here to give and receive love. Won't you show up and be loved? Be that heart you're dreaming of. We are here to be loved. Many rivers, just one well, all unique expressions of life. When one is silent, I'll be your voice. I will stand beside you for what's right. So show up and be loved. Be the smile you're dreaming of. We're here to give and receive love. Won't you show up and be loved? Be that heart you're dreaming of. We are here to be loved. You gotta be it if you want to see it. All that love you're craving in the world. We're the ones to make the difference. We're the ones that we've been waiting for. So show up and be loved. Be the smile you're dreaming of. We're here to give and receive love. Won't you show up and be loved? Be that heart you're dreaming of. We are here to be loved. We are here to be loved. We are here to be loved. All right. Yes, we are here to be loved. And, you know, believe it or not, sometimes that takes welcoming the uncomfortable. So let's just move into our breath and be open to surrendering into, not outside of, but into that power and presence within us. I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. And through the surrender, we can open our hearts and our minds to accept. I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. We are opening. We are opening. Our hearts are ready to receive. And preparing for that space of prayer, just once more, I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive.
We give thanks for the understanding that spirit is truly all there is, everywhere present in every moment and every situation. And we know that the nature of the universe is love and support. And so I'm knowing that each person who is hearing this treatment is immersed in that healing pool of spirit's love and support and joy and wisdom. And so we do open our hearts to that wisdom. We open our hearts to that love. And we open our body to the healing power of life that is always flowing through in us and as us and through us. And we know that whatever situations we may be facing in our lives, challenging situations or any others, that the infinite intelligence within us is guiding and directing us for the harmonizing and healing of those conditions. So we accept this is done in the mind of God, and we simply wait for wonderful reports and delightful surprises. And so it is. Amen.
Beautiful, beautiful. So imagine how excited I was when I heard that the theme for the day was welcoming the uncomfortable, since I just wrote a new song that literally says, welcome discomfort. So here we go. A bird in the nest needs help to fly free. It's safe and warm inside the shell at the top of that tree. But you've broken the shell or you wouldn't be sitting with me here. So make happiness your priority and don't be ruled by your fear. Be unique, be who you are, be radical. Welcome discomfort, be unpredictable. Don't be what everyone wants, be who you are here to be. Yes, be all that you came here to be. Be spontaneous, be willing, sit back, enjoy the view. Let the universe show off as you. Ask for help when you need it, but be willing to do the work. Learn to bless the mess, to fill your cup and to put yourself first. Be unique, be who you are, be a radical. Welcome discomfort, be unpredictable. Don't be what everyone wants, be who you are here to be. Yes, be all that you came here to be. Be faithful only to the beauty of your heart. Let your life be original works of art. When that word finds you, that you came here to stay, live it with your whole heart every day. Be unique, be who you are, be radical. Welcome discomfort, be unpredictable. Don't be what everyone wants, be who you are here to be. Yes, be all that you came here to be. Break away, claim your queendom. Break away, break the shell, claim your kingdom. Break away, break free, live from your freedom. Break away, break free.
Oh, thank you, Christy. Breakaway, be all you came to be, and welcome discomfort. So here we come into this time of the morning where we're looking at, and we have been looking at the soul's call starting last week, being calling us forward into something that we don't already know how to do, basically. And I remember when I traveled to Russia probably 20 years ago now, that the Russian woman that I was staying with in her apartment in Moscow for about, 2 or 3 days after a conference I was at, maybe longer. I can't remember how long I was with her, but for several days. And she toured me all over Moscow. Yeah, I paid for everything, and she took me everywhere. And it was not a tough situation to do that for me. But one of the things she said to me, because I was commenting on how unsettling it was to have things be so unpredictable in a lot of different places. The only thing that was consistent in my experience while I was there was the subway. It was always right on time, and it was absolutely perfectly clean and gorgeous. But everything else was uncertain. And when I mentioned it, that was kind of uncomfortable, or that must be kind of uncomfortable for the people, she said to me, well, if you always have to be comfortable, you miss a lot. And what I realize now is how very important it is to us as Americans oftentimes to be comfortable. So I wanted to share with you some of the comments about trails that have been received in the U.S. national parks from visitors. These are 9 things that they have received information about trails. Number 1, trails need to be reconstructed. Please avoid building trails that go uphill. Trails need to be wider so people can walk while holding hands. Please pave the trails so they can be plowed of snow in the winter. Reflectors need to be placed on trees every 50 feet so people can hike at night without flashlights. Or with flashlights, sorry. The places where trails do not exist are not well marked. Escalators would help on steep uphill sections. Chairlifts need to be added in some places so that we can get to wonderful views without having to hike to them. We need more signs to keep the area pristine. A McDonald's would be nice at the trailhead. So what all of these comments / complaints reveal to me is the need to be comfortable, to make things easier, to smooth the way so that work doesn't have to be done. And the truth is that our lives require a certain amount of effort just to be here. If everything was meant to be comfortable all the time, we would never get up off the couch. There'd be no reason to do that, and we would probably all die of boredom. I'm remembering a movie that I saw that followed the Firefly series. If you remember the series Firefly, you may or may not have seen it with Nathan Fillion years ago. And the movie that followed it was called Serenity. And there was a terraformed or a planet that had been populated a long way from the home planets. And what they had done to keep the people peaceful so that there wouldn't be insurrections and problems was they piped into sort of the atmosphere they created there a kind of calming, contentment sort of something or other into the air. And it did 2 things, neither of which worked well. One was it made part of the population go completely crazy and violent, and the other half of the population was so content they stopped doing everything. They stopped eating, they stopped moving, they stopped mating, they stopped everything. And they just died where they were. So it's, to me, a metaphor of being too comfortable, of choosing to always be absolutely comfortable and have everything be safe and insured. Now, we look at people in the world who have made an enormous difference, who have chosen to be uncomfortable in some sense. Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and John Lewis. Emergency responders of all kinds. Athletes, artists. What do? They push themselves past the point of certain human limits, either physical limits, emotional limits, limits of sense of comfort zone, into an area of sacrifice, of altruism, of delayed gratification. So we find that there are people that we experience in our existence who choose to serve humanity in some way or to express in some way that causes them to push through discomfort, whether it's physical or emotional or ego discomfort, whatever it is, to push beyond their personal bounds of comfort with those things. You with me here so far? Our founder of Centers for Spiritual Living, Dr. Ernest Holmes, wrote, "There is an inner urge in our own minds to grow, to expand, to break down the barriers of previous limitations, and to ever widen our influence, our experience. This persistent urge is a divine influence and irresistible force, and constitutes the greatest impulse in human experience. It is still the urge back of all accomplishment, the promise of all fulfillment." So we might ask ourselves then, why do these people choose to be uncomfortable? Why do they choose the discomfort? And I think that Holmes addresses the answer to that. First, they may be living out their values, which cause them to push through their own discomfort in order to stand for something, to provoke change, knowing that it will also provoke response that might not always be positive. They may be choosing it out of deep compassion for human needs that they see around them. They may be doing it because they feel a deep hunger, need, or urge for personal transformation or personal expression to live the life they came to live, to dare to be who they feel called to be. So when we're talking about the soul's call, the soul always calls us out of our comfort zone into those areas of discomfort, always. Stretching like this pull, this urge, is our own nature. It's built into us. So I want to tell you a little story about Roger Bannister, the Englishman who broke the 3-minute mile, which happened in 1953, the end of May 1953. Now, people have been trying to break the 3-minute mile, or no, the 4-minute mile. Yeah, the 4-minute mile. Sorry about that. Roger didn't quite go that far. People have been trying to break the 4-minute mile since 1886, unsuccessfully. And many people believe that it was not possible. But those experts and commentators who believed it was possible also knew exactly what kind of conditions would be necessary for somebody to accomplish that. First of all, it would have to be a comfortable 68 degrees. There would have to be no wind. The runner would have to be on a hard, dry clay track, and there would need to be a huge, boisterous crowd that was making a lot of noise to encourage the runners to their highest and best. In fact, when Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, these were the actual conditions. It was a cold day with a wet track, and it was a very small meet and a small crowd in Oxford, and he timed in at 3 minutes 59.4 seconds. And you want to know how long his record lasted? 45 days. Within 45 days, the record had been broken again, and within a year, 3 runners broke the 4-minute mile in the same race. Once the idea that it was possible became a reality, and runners knew it was possible, they started to do it. I understand that the way that Roger Bannister actually broke the 4-minute mile is that it occurred to him that he physically, when he was running, could not tell the difference in a tenth of a second. So it made sense to him that if he could run a 4-minute mile, which he was able to do, he ought to be able to run a 4-minute 59.9 second mile. And once he got the idea that that tenth of a second was entirely within his ability, that's when he did it. And when he did it and proved that it could be done, then others believed it and did it too. So there's something that happens within us when we change our minds to decide that we are going to do something, that we're able to push beyond even the boundaries of what anybody else has done that we know of in order to do something that we feel called to do, or to do it better than we have ever done it before. M. Scott Peck said, "Our finest moments can occur when we are feeling uncomfortable or unhappy. For it is in such moments that we are likely to step out of our ruts and find different ways or truer answers." And Robert Browning wrote a long poem about an artist who was struggling. And at one point, he puts this line in the artist's mouth in the poem: "Ah, but a man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for?" So in exceeding our grasp, as somebody said, if you shoot for the moon, you might not make the moon. Or if you shoot for the stars, you may not make the stars, but you might make it as far as the moon. I think maybe it was the other way around originally, but you'll end up in the stars. But now we know that the stars are much further away than the moon. Anyway, you get the idea. Pema Chodron, the Buddhist abbess at a monastery in Canada, once wrote, "The most precious opportunity presents itself when we come to the place where we think we can't handle whatever is happening. It's too much. It's gone too far. It's as if you just looked yourself in the mirror and you saw a gorilla. The mirror's there, is showing you, and what you see looks bad. That's being nailed by life," she says, "the place where you have no choice except to embrace what's happening or push it away." And so sometimes we do push it away. Sometimes it's too much and we can't face it in the moment. But when we decide to embrace it, to accept it as it is, to work with it, then something new can happen. There's another possibility revealing itself. Think about this. Is there anything at all that you have learned and learned well or discovered that didn't come with some discomfort? Everything we desire to do, whether it's learning to whistle, blow bubblegum, ride a bike, juggle, play a sport, sing a song, when we really work to get good at something, or when we really choose to get good at something, or when we really feel compelled to do something we've never been able to do, we somehow will push ourselves until we can do it. I mean, when you were a little kid and you had a loose tooth, I'm willing to bet that 99% of you did not just let that tooth become loose until it fell out. You wiggled it, you twisted it, you made it bleed. It was uncomfortable, but something in you couldn't keep your hands off of it. You just had to mess with it until the tooth came out. What is that about? There is something in us that moves toward what's trying to happen when we're not denying our own inner soul's call, our own inner intuition, what's pulling us, what's calling us. Nothing gained ever came from being just comfortable. All of the skill building, all of the learning, the relationships we've developed, the jobs we've done well at and been advanced in, the friendships we've made that have lasted, the games or athletics we've played, our financial well-being, the arts, none of it has come out of staying inside our comfort zone. We always have to risk the comfort zone to accomplish, to exceed our limits, because the unknown fascinates us as human beings. It challenges us. We have a desire to know. We have a desire to see what's on the other side, and discomfort is the clue that we're moving toward that. Why live if our lives are going to be completely unchanging and we're going to be completely unchanged, unaffected, and comfortable? There's no point in even being here. So Peter McWilliams says, be willing to be uncomfortable. It may get tough, but it's a small price to pay for living a dream. I agree with him. Jason Reynolds said, if you can't put yourself in a situation where you're uncomfortable, then you'll never grow. You'll never change. You'll never learn. And I particularly like what T. Harv Eker said. Nobody ever died of discomfort. Yet living in the name of comfort has killed more ideas, more opportunities, more actions, and more growth than everything else combined. Yes, having to be safe and comfortable begins to eat away at us. And so I think this is something that Jesus may have been talking about when in the book of Matthew, he quotes Jesus as saying, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes?" Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns. And I might add, they don't worry. Back to Jesus. And yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single cubit to your height? You know, I think if we tried that, we'd find it doesn't really work to try and worry our way into a better situation. It's just a habit. Worrying serves no evolutionary purpose or no transformative purpose. Michael Beckwith said it has no transformative value. It just stops us, that's all. Now, that's a mechanism for keeping us safe, but keeping us safe is not optimal a lot of the time. So we really want to be able to stretch. That's our nature. That's what makes us healthy. We want to make friends with the uncomfortable. The year that I was an acting student, a professional acting student at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco, I remember saying that over the course of the year, I had begun to feel that being sore and sweaty and a little nervous was just the natural state of life and being, because we were always physically doing all kinds of physical work that made our muscles ache, and doing it long enough that we were sweaty and sticky and uncomfortable, and taking risks in our performing that made us feel a little butterflies in the stomach. And that just became the mode, the atmosphere that we lived in day to day in order to do that work better, in order to push ourselves further. It seems like we don't travel best by strolling. We travel best by leaping ahead, by moving quickly, by going forward with enthusiasm, by taking big bites out of life. When I do memorials for people, those who have really lived a life, those who have really had a lot of different experiences, who have really savored life, who have loved their friends and their family and their work, those people, it's a joy to experience their memorial service, to hear people share about them, to discover that they took big bites out of life. And it's always a little sad for me to prepare a memorial where the family just says, the family was her life, or he lived for his family. Now, there's nothing wrong with those pursuits and that dedication, but to not be known for your joys, for your humor, for your irritations and your opinions, for your wisdom, for your patience, to just be known as the family was the most important thing, and have nobody know you well enough to say anything else about you. That to me is sad. Now, perhaps internally that person had a very rich life, I don't know. But what I wish for them is that they had taken big bites out of life. And hopefully they did, even though their family may not have realized it. So the path, our own unique path, the path of the soul's call, that's always beyond the current comfort zone. And it isn't about conquering the discomfort as much as it is about outlasting it or making friends with it. You know, in 1958, 59, or maybe I got the dates mixed up with Roger Bannister, when Mount Everest was first scaled by Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgard. In the West, the headlines talked about the conquest of Mount Everest, conquering the mountain. And an Asian man whose writings were deeply influenced by Taoism remarked, "We would put the matter differently. We would speak of the befriending of Everest." Isn't that interesting? The work, the struggle, the danger, perhaps the fear, the near misses, the lack of oxygen, the outlasting physical endurance conditions that are required to successfully climb Mount Everest, and especially the first time, to look at that as befriending that mountain rather than conquering it, that tells us something about living in a state of awe and curiosity and delight. Ernest Holmes says this in The Practical Application of the Science of Mind. Latent divinity within us stirs our imagination, and because of its insistent demand, impels and compels our growth. It is back of every invention. It proclaims itself through every creative endeavor. And so I want to close this morning with a little story. The little story of someone who approached his work from the standpoint of maximum service and possibly discomfort to bring about a result that may or may not have been necessary. A farmer owned some land along the seacoast, and he constantly advertised for hired hands. Most people were reluctant to work on farms along the coast because of the dreaded, awful storms that raged, wreaking havoc on buildings and crops. As the farmer interviewed applicants for the job, he received a steady stream of refusals. And finally, a short, thin man, well past middle age, approached the farmer. "Are you a good farmhand?" the farmer asked him. "Well, I can sleep when the wind blows," the little man replied. So although he was quite puzzled by that answer, the farmer, who was desperate for help, went ahead and hired him. And the little man worked well around the farm. He was busy from dawn until dusk, and the farmer felt satisfied with the man's work. And then one night, the wind howled loudly from offshore, and jumping out of bed, the farmer grabbed a lantern and rushed next door to the hired hand's sleeping quarters. And he shook the little man and yelled, "Get up, a storm is coming. We must tie things down before they blow away." And the little man rolled over in bed, fixed him with a stare, and firmly said, "No, sir, I told you, I can sleep when the wind blows." Well, the farmer was exasperated and enraged, and he almost fired the man on the spot, but there was too much to be done. So he hurried outside to prepare for the storm alone. And to his amazement, he discovered that all of the haystacks had been covered with tarpaulins. The cows were in the barn, the chickens were in the coops, and the doors were barred. The shutters were tightly secured. Everything was tied down and well prepared already. Nothing could blow away. And finally, the farmer understood what his hired farmhand had meant, and he too returned to his bed to sleep well while the wind blew. How do we sleep while the wind blows? We embrace the extra discomfort in our day-to-day lives in order to allow ourselves to come into that place where we are already prepared for what might be coming, where we have already stepped into the discomfort. And so rather than fear it, we know we're ready for it, or we're as ready as we can be, or we're willing to face it. And even if our knees are shaking, even if we feel afraid, we're ready to face it. I'm going to invite you to join me now for the morning affirmation. Here it is. Discomfort is my friend. Divine discontent urges me to surrender my resistance. I embrace the unknown that is here for me right now and let it be. So I invite you to repeat that again with me now, and let's think about what we're saying as we do so. Discomfort is my friend. Divine discontent urges me to surrender my resistance. I embrace the unknown that is here for me right now and let it be. I embrace the unknown that is here for me right now and let it be. And so the important thing about this is to remember that resistance is our friend. I am not one who welcomes physical discomfort very well. I am not one who looks forward to it and embraces it very much. And so it becomes important for me to recognize that my own resistance needs to be recognized but not allow it to stop me, so that that little bit of discomfort can become my friend. Let's join in prayer together now, all of us, for those parts of us that are in resistance, to welcome, to befriend the discomfort in the soul's call that's drawing us into the unknown for delightful surprises. As we take this breath, as we enter into the sacred unknown, we recognize that this is our home. This is what we came from. It's what we're made of. We are the divine and sacred unknown. And that one presence, that one power that created the universe, that is the everlasting, the eternal, the unlimited sacred unknown, is everywhere at this moment in its fullness, in its completeness. The whole of that which I call God surrounds me. The whole of that which I call God is within me. It is expressing itself through me and as me and for me and around me. And this is not only true of me, it's true of everyone, always. So I know for myself and for all of us today that discomfort is truly a servant and a friend. It sets out the awareness that I'm moving into unknown territory to bring my attention, my intention, my alertness to it, but not to stop me. And so I know that the enticement to move into that good discomfort is outlasting and outpowering the resistance itself. That invitation, that enticement, that curiosity, that desire to know, to express, that is the true nature of my being. And the discomfort that accompanies it is my friend. It is my cheering squad. It is my guarantee that I am growing, I am stretching. So I bless that discomfort now in me, in all of us. I bless that bit of discomfort that needs to be walked with and walked through. And I know that it is my beloved servant assisting me to go a little further, to push a little more, to break through into a new level of awareness and beingness and life and joy and wholeness and fulfillment. And for this, I am so grateful. I bless all of this now, and I release this prayer into the creative law of mind and spirit, which acts upon it immediately and always says yes. I know this is the truth, and anything unlike it is dissolving into its own native nothingness. And with great joy, I let this word go, and I just let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Yes, taking a breath, and so it is. And so, dear hearts, we move now into our sacred giving time. And if you would like to be able to give via text this morning to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, I'm going to put the information for that in the comments section of this morning's broadcast so that you'll be able to see it. And if you text the number of what you want to give, the dollar number, no dollar sign, no decimal point, just a number, to that phone number, send that off. They'll take it from there, and get you squared away. That's one way to give, and the easiest in this moment. But we, and I'm speaking as myself and for Golden Gate, and we collectively as Golden Gate, are grateful for every single thing that has been given to us in this past week, whether it's financial, whether it's prayer, whether it's service. We are deeply grateful for all of it, because without all of it, we could not do what we do. And we're grateful for all that we receive this morning. And so I would guess that all of us as individuals are grateful for every good that's come our way this week. And so right now, let's bless all of it. I'm going to invite you to put your hands on your heart and to repeat this blessing after me as I say it. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love. One heart and one thought at a time, beginning right here with me and mine. And so it is. Thank you, dear hearts. So I want to share a few announcements with you now. The first is that the new member class is going to be beginning on July 11th. Registration for that is open now. Please email our administrator at ggcsl.org and let her know that you would like to be registered for this free class. It's a 3-session, 2 hours each, free class to help explore, if you're interested in membership, what it means and how it works here. And those 3 Sundays will be July 11th, July 18th, and July 25th. On the 18th and 25th from 1 to 3 p.m. On the 11th, I'll be announcing the time very soon because we have a picnic that I'll be telling you about in a minute that's happening that day. But there is no requirement that you join from taking this class, but you do need to be registered so we can make sure and send you the handouts and the Zoom link for it. And now I tell you why we're having a picnic on July 11th, because our members Mary Cosgrove and Jay Gustafson are retiring to the East Coast, to Mary's hometown. And as they do that, they'll be near family, and we want to have a send-off for them. And since we will be in July, and more, if not all, of the COVID restrictions will be reduced by that time or dropped, we would like to do a community picnic. Now, this will be at the Corte Madera Community Center park, because of all the ones that we've explored, it has the most picnic tables, barbecue area, and closeness, proximity to parking and restrooms that we can find. And so we'll have to send a few people out early to claim the tables, because it's first come, first served, and then we will give you all the details. But if you'd like to help plan it, I invite you to email Lori Greer at Lori, L-O-R-I, Morning Glory, Lori Morning Glory at gmail.com. Tell her you'd like to help with this for Mary and Jay, and she'll tell you how you can do that. Also, I'm going to be teaching the Foundations class, which is the basic class that everything else rests on. That's the first class that's required in our series. And so anybody that wants to take Foundations or to review it, you will need to register. Registration is going to begin probably the beginning of August, but I want to let you know that put that on your calendar now. It starts September 21st. It's going to be in the evenings, 6 to 9 for 10 weeks. And our 2 newest practitioners will be joining me in teaching that class, Suzanne Dubois, who has a lot of experience teaching, and Rachel DePaula. And we're just knowing they will be licensed with great success very soon now, so we're going to have them do that. Also want to let you know that the Centers for Spiritual Living's summer conference is going to be virtual this year on August 13th and 14th. Early bird registration is open now for only $99. Go to www.spiritualretreat.csl.org for all the details. And I'm also going to put in the chat all of the info you need to join us for our coffee, conversation, and connection immediately following the service. So, my dear hearts, thank you for being with us this morning. We have a wonderful closing song for you, and then I'll be right back with one more thing. So please hang in there with us. But right now, welcome back from the bottom of our hearts, Reverend Christy Snow.
What a wonderful message and service. Thank you so much for having me. I don't know about you all, but when my minister first told me that discontent was divine, I had to write a song to convince myself. Well, I was just getting comfortable in my new space, planted flower beds and painted the ceilings, rearranged the place, knocked down a wall, added on a room. Didn't think it'd be time to move on so soon. Heard it said that discontent is to be considered divine, and even if we haven't seen it that way, that there's always time to search avenue after avenue and every angle to find what it is we're supposed to see there in our mind's eye. And I'm thinking that there is always change. There's always change. There's always change. When change is good. Discontent is what keeps us forever pushing on. Grateful but seeking, never growing. Complacent with life's soul. There's always change. There's always change. There is always change. Oh, yeah, there is always change. There is always change. There is always change. When change is good. May not look like it, but it's always good. Like it or not now, there is always change.
Yes, there is always change. Oh my, and we are doing our best to rock and roll with it all the time. So, Christy, bless your heart. Thanks for being here with us this morning. It was so much fun to have you. And I know we've had a little extra help here this morning as well. I am so glad that you've all been with us. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And we look forward to seeing you immediately after the service for coffee, conversation, and connection. So please come and join me there. The information is in the comments section with this video. So you'll see it at the end there, and come and join me. I don't want to be lonely this morning. I'd like to have some conversation with a few of you. Okay? Mwah! Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye-bye.